Hi students, welcome to this lesson. This lesson is mainly about how to convert between polar to rectangular or rectangular to polar form. In order to understand this concept, all you have to know is the difference between the rectangular and polar form. So how do we locate a point in a plane? So far we know from our previous knowledge, in order to locate a point in a plane, we start from the origin and we travel to the specific distance on x, and then we travel to the specific distance on y to reach x, y. So this is what we do in the rectangular coordinate form. So let's go to the polar form. So to reach this point r, angle, rather than traveling to the specific distance here on x and y, we take the direct route from the origin to that destination. So this is the difference between rectangular to polar form. In rectangular form, we have the values of x, y, and in polar form, we have the values of r, angle, where r represent the radius, the length or distance between origin to that particular point, and the angle represent is measured from the x-axis and it goes counterclockwise direction. So with this knowledge, how do we convert? Let's take this example. What if they have given x and y, which is in the rectangular form, and ask us to convert that to a polar form? We know by looking at this, from rectangular form, x, y should be converted to r, angle. So we need to find the radius and we need to find the angle. Figuring out the radius is pretty easy. If we use the Pythagoras theorem, the longest side squared will be equivalent to 2 short sides squared. Using that, we can figure out the r. How do we find the angle? In this particular rectangular form, since this point is located on first quadrant, the angle can be found using trigonometry, which is opposite over adjacent, which means we can use the tan angle is equals to opposite over adjacent. So the angle can be figured out by inversing that. So this is how we convert a rectangular form to polar form. Let's take this example. How do we convert a polar form to a rectangular form? This time r and angle is given and we have to go back to x and y. In order to do that, first you need to understand the concept of y equals to radius times sine angle. So again we use the trigonometric knowledge. So according to the trigonometric knowledge, this is hypotenuse is equivalent to r and the opposite is equivalent to y, and here adjacent is equivalent to x here. So if we use the sine angle, then we know the sine angle is equals to opposite over hypotenuse, which is y over r. And then we can rearrange this formula to find y. That turns out to be r times sine angle. Similar to that, we can also figure out x is equals to radius times the cos angle. So once we convert this, then we could easily convert back from r, angle to x, y. Let me show you in the following example. So let's see this particular example here. So the given rectangular coordinate is in the form of 12, 5, and they are asking to convert that to a polar coordinate. So we know we need to find out r, angle. So how can we figure out r? Using the Pythagoras theorem. we know r is equals to square root of other two sides added. Square of other two sides should be added. So 12 squared is 144, 5 squared is 25. When you add and do the square root, you end up getting 13. So how do we find the angle? We know the tan inverse is equals to opposite over adjacent, which would give you 22.6 degree. So from 12, 5, which is in the rectangular form, we could easily convert that to a polar form r, angle, which is radius, angle. So let's see the same question. How do we convert from a polar form to a rectangular form? So we know this is r, this is angle. We should convert these two to x, y. So the previous explanation showed that x can be represented as radius times cos angle and y can be represented as radius times sine angle. So we can use that. So radius times cos angle. So cos times 22.6 is 0.923 and then times by the radius, which gives you x. And y is equals to radius times sine angle, which gives you 4.996, and they are rounding this number to 12, 5. It's pretty easy, eh? Now it's your turn to convert and practice your skills to get clear understanding.